Today, we're going to unpack some incredibly powerful and really universal lessons on communication and persuasion from one of the greatest legal minds of our time. And trust me, this isn't just for lawyers. This is for anyone who ever has to make a case for, well, anything. Just think about that for a second. You've done all the work, you've got the facts on your side, but you make one tiny little mistake in how you talk to someone. Could that really be enough to lose it all? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is a big, fat yes.
So, we're diving into the wisdom of Fali S. Nuriman, a true titan of the courtroom. And what's so fascinating is that his stories, pulled from decades of these high-stakes arguments, they really reveal these fundamental truths about human nature, about respect, and about the simple art of being heard. Okay, our first story takes us right into the heart of a courtroom, where a simple rule of etiquette is about to have some pretty disastrous consequences. And it all comes down to this one old English saying. So this is the core principle. You see, in the legal world, titles aren't just a formality. They are a sign of respect for the court's authority, for the weight of the law itself. A magistrate is your honor, but a high court judge? That's your lordship. Getting this wrong, as one young lawyer found out, is basically like walking into a minefield. So get this. Nuriman is in court, and the lawyer on the other side keeps calling the high court judge, Justice Shalat, your honor. Now, Justice Shalat had just been promoted, and he was, as Nuriman puts it, pretty sensitive about his new title. The more the lawyer said it, the more brittle the judge became. And finally, he just ruled against him, delivering what Nuriman knew was a completely wrong judgment. Now, Justice did win out on appeal, but the battle on that day, it was lost over two simple words. And that's the big lesson here for every single one of us. It doesn't matter if you're in a courtroom, a boardroom, or just on a Zoom call. Understanding and respecting the protocols and the people in the room isn't just a nice thing to do. It can literally be the difference between being heard and being completely dismissed. All right, let's switch gears to our next lesson. We're moving from the small details of respect to the brutal, unforgiving reality of time. Because in some of the world's most important rooms, you do not have all day to make your point. I want you to picture this. You are arguing a case that could change the entire country. You are standing before the 9 justices of the U.S. Supreme Court, and you have a grand total of 30 minutes. That is it. No extensions, no exceptions. This is exactly the pressure cooker the brilliant Archibald Cox found himself in while arguing the landmark Bakke case. He's trying to field this barrage of questions from 9 of the sharpest legal minds on the planet. And then this ominous bright light comes on. His time is up. But Cox, he's in the middle of a really fascinating point, so he just keeps going. The presiding judge, Chief Justice Warren Burger, then cuts him off with this simple, firm statement. It is a very clear warning. Cox decides to push his luck for another 30 seconds. And that is when the Chief Justice repeats himself, only this time in what Nuriman describes as a louder, parlatory tone. Poor Cox had to sit down right in the middle of his sentence. He was done. The lesson here is so clear. It's all about discipline. Complaining that you don't have enough time, Nuriman says, just shows that you couldn't get to the heart of your own case. The constraints are actually what sharpen your mind and force you to be brilliant. Nuriman mentions this article he read with 20 tips for young lawyers. The first 19 were all pretty useful, but the last one, that was the most important one. When you've made your point, when you feel like you've won the argument, when your time is up, just sit down. Okay, so if we pull all these stories and decades of experience together, Nuriman gives us this kind of professional's code, a set of unwritten rules for how to act with integrity that go way beyond just the courtroom. Let's quickly run through them. First, learn to lose with dignity. Hey, in any argument, only one side can win. Grace in defeat is the mark of real character. Second, talk less. A lawyer who talks too much, he says, is like a broken drum. It's just a lot of noise, no music. Third, remember the whole system runs on mutual good faith. Trust is absolutely everything. Fourth, never ever talk to the press about a case you're involved in. It's cheap and it undermines the whole process. And finally, as we just saw with Mr. Cox, never complain about time. Master your constraints. And now for the final and maybe the most humbling piece of wisdom. This actually comes from a U.S. Supreme Court Justice Robert Jackson.
And it's this really profound thought on the gap between our plans and, well, reality.
I mean, we've all been here, right? First, there's the argument you plan in your head. Oh, it's perfect. It's logical, it's airtight, it's brilliant. Then, there's the argument you actually give. You know, the one that gets interrupted, the one that goes off on some tangent and just feels kind of disjointed and disappointing. But that's not even the most important one.
The third and best argument, according to Justice Jackson, is the one that hits you hours later, maybe in the middle of the night. The one you should have made, the one that makes you think, you fool. It's that humbling little reminder that we can always, always be better. So, as we wrap up this look into Folly Nariman's wisdom, the question isn't just about what you're going to say next time you have to make a case. It's about that perfect, brilliant argument from your own past that's just now popping into your head. What are you going to learn from it?